Good morning. So when Jesus is telling a parable, it's kind of important to listen in two distinct ways. So you kind of listen for what Jesus is saying and literally interpret what it is that he's sharing with us. So he's telling this story, today's gospel, about this landowner who goes away and he goes on a journey, but he leaves his servants with coins. And he doesn't tell them what to do with it, but he leaves them with coins. He goes off on his journey, comes back, and then we know what happens. The one who was given a certain amount, there was two, they doubled the amount of coins that they had. The other one decided to bury it in the ground and do nothing. And then we know what Jesus says to him. So that's on the one level, right? But the cool thing about Jesus is he speaks in multiple layers. So when he talks about the talents, the coins, it's meant to be a symbol for something. Like, for example, if I'm sending you a text message and I send you a heart emoji, what does that mean? All right. Doesn't mean I'm having a heart attack, right? No, I hope not. It means love. Or if I send this emoji, the folded hands, I'm praying for you, right? There are symbols that are meant to represent something else, and the coins do just that. So what do you think the coins represent? Let me hear from some of the young ones. What do you think the coins in the story represents? There's no wrong answer. There is, but no, there's no wrong answer. What do you think? You can just yell it out. Huh? Come on. What are the coins? Oh, no, I know it's money, but it represents something. It's a symbol for something. All right. Go ahead. What? Gold. You guys got to get away from money. What is this? Go ahead, one more. Knowledge? All right, getting close. Knowledge. Okay, and one more, go ahead. What? Hope? All right, okay, now we're getting deep. That's what I'm talking about. Today's gospel, with this story of the coins and the landowners, the coins represent faith. They represent faith. So it's interesting how the landowner represents God, right? That's pretty clear. And the servants represent us. This landowner gives the coins to the servants and he goes away on a journey. In many ways in our lives, in baptism, God gives us the gifts of faith. But the way it works out is sometimes people don't get the same amount, and for varying reasons. Some people have more faith than others. And then the landowner goes away on a journey, just like oftentimes God feels like distant from us. Like he's on a journey. But he's given us the tools, the coins, to be able to keep us going. But what do we do with those coins? That's what's really important. That's what the story is about. You see, friends, the coins represent faith. And some have 5, others have 3, and some have 1. But the thing is, we've all received the gift of faith. So what do we do with faith as we await the Master's return? Because we know that Jesus is going to come back again at the end of time, right? So he's going to come back. And he's going to ask us what we did with our faith. So what do we do with our faith? And I think that question is better answered. It depends on whether we want it to grow or not. You see, friends, the truth of the matter is this. Jesus recommends that in order for our faith to grow, you have to give it away. You have to invest it. It's kind of an interesting theory, but we'll get there. You see, friends, the truth of the matter is this. If you bury your faith in the privacy of your life, in the privacy of your home, if you say, it's my faith, I don't want to share it, or I don't want people to know about it, Plus, I'm afraid to talk to people about what I believe. I don't know enough to share my faith. And who wants to hear about my faith anyway? My faith is my private concern, and it's no one else's business. But friends, if this is our attitude, what will happen is that faith will eventually fade away. Just like the servant who took the coin and buried it in the ground instead of investing it. He ended up losing it. See, faith is like a paradox. It means that it kind of doesn't make sense. The paradox is if you want your faith to grow, you got to share it. You have to speak it. You have to allow others to see it. You have to give it away. Yeah, it's risky business. It's not easy to share our faith. And that's why Jesus uses this image of investing, of risk and return in the parable. You see, a lot of people have been paying attention, right, to the financial markets. And it's become clear that in the world of finance, there's a lot of risk in an investment. And the more you risk, the chances of getting a greater return are there. But Jesus' story about the 3 servants and the coins, they were entrusted to them. And they make this point of this spiritual reality. It's more risky not to invest your faith. This is a strong message, especially for parents. Especially parents who feel ill-equipped to nurture their child's faith. I've often heard, Father, I'm not well versed in this religion stuff. Or the people in the church are better equipped to handle that. And so they hide the talent that they do have. Whatever experience of faith they may have, whatever knowledge of faith they may have, they hide it. They bury it. They don't want to make it more. They play it safe, or so they think. You see, in Jesus' view, it is putting what we have to good use that then reaps our rewards. So share your faith as much as you can. The faith that you have with your children, your grandchildren, your nieces, your nephews, your friends, those around you. You see, the good news is that we don't have to have a lot to start with. Jesus says, to those who have, more will be given, and they will have an abundance. See, the cool thing about being God is he could take something small and make it huge. But in order for it to grow, we have to give it away. We have to invest it, if you will. How? Well, here are a few things that we can do to unearth those coins, to invest those coins, so that faith can grow not only in our life, but in the life of those around us. First, let the language of the gospel, the language of faith, be on your lips. In other words, get rid of the censor that prevents you from even making reference to God in your speech. Say God bless you when somebody sneezes. Say, what a beautiful day, thank God. Man, I got a test today, God help me. You can tell a colleague at work or a friend at school how you heard something in the homily that moved you and inspired you and share it with them, maybe. But friends, it's these small injections of faith, of God in our language and in our relationships that help to unearth the talent for faith to grow. Second, here's the second bit of practical advice. Display a sign of faith in your person. Include a sign of faith on your social media handle. Wear a cross and be prepared to share with others why you wear it. What's its significance? What does it mean to you? Hang a picture of a sin in your office or in your... I mean, those are great conversation starters. The third bit of practical advice, pray before meals, especially when you're out at a restaurant. And I know this could feel awkward, but know this, more times than not, you'll be helping others to do the same. I'll never forget when I was in the Army, I was up in Rhode Island. My twin brother and I were in the service together. We're both in uniform, and we went out to a diner for breakfast. We sit in a booth. We order our meal, the meal arrives. Both he and I, we take off our caps, we're in our uniforms, we make the sign of the cross, we bow our heads and say a blessing. We finish our prayer and we begin to eat. The family comes over and they say, first, thank you for your service, but most especially, thank you for the witness of faith. We needed to see that. We often think that that's going to make people feel uncomfortable. But friends, the courage that we display in making our faith known, it encourages others to do the same. Except when you're a Jets fan. People don't walk. It doesn't have to be a big ordeal. It just takes 10 seconds to thank God for the gift of food, family, and faith. Very simple. And maybe you're already praying before meals. Wonderful. Turn it up a notch. Pray a family rosary. Or listen to the Bible story in Hallow app. Friends, know this, in my experience, most people are genuinely interested in what we believe and why we believe it. You don't have to be a theologian to defend or articulate your faith. You just have to be willing to live your faith and to share what you know and to trust in sharing that, your faith will grow. So remember the spiritual lesson from today's parable. If you want God's presence to grow in you and in your family, you have to give your faith away. If you want to increase it, share your faith and you'll see it increase, just like the two servants in our gospel. Friends, it's not easy to share one's faith for sure. But the returns on that investment is quite literally out of this world.